Hello guys, it's Paula, and I'm here this morning to continue working on some of the collage stuff I want to put in my Etsy shop. Now, whether I will or not, I don't know. Depends on how everything turns out. And then I got to get to work on my journal, my design team journal. Okay, so what I was inspired by Rachel over at Roxy Creations. I'm sorry. Out of the blue, I decided to cough. Anyway, so she had 2 envelopes of different sizes. And I thought there's lots of things you can do with that. So I just glued them together, and I'm going to show you how I glued them together. Now I didn't have any just white. I had to use some of my tea stained on the small envelope, but we're covering it up, so it really doesn't matter. So this flap on the large one's going to be to the right, okay, and this flap on the small one's going to go to the right. All right, now we're going to put glue on the inside flap of the small envelope, and I'm just using, you could use probably just about anything on here. I don't know how this is getting plugged up when it has the little tip on it. It's not supposed to. I kept it plugged. Let's see if I can open it and get it open to clear out anything that might be causing it to. There we go. So I'm just kind of spreading out some of this. You know, she used a glue stick, so I'm assuming you could. I just wanted to make sure I didn't have problems with it coming off. Okay, so we're going to take this large envelope with the flap to the right to put it over the inside of this envelope. And you want to center it on your large envelope so that you have the same amount on both sides. Okay. Now, I'm going to flip this over and make sure we don't have anything leaking out, causing any problems. And there you go. That's as easy as it gets. Okay, now you're thinking, why would you want to put a large and a small together? Well, I wondered that too when I saw her doing it. But she made it look so lovely. So pretty that I wanted to try it. So, you can add pockets to this contraption we got going here, or you can, you know, not add pockets. So what I'm going to do is on the back one, I'm going to make it be the pocket on the top. So I'm going to seal this down here. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want this just to be a flat surface to decorate and to have journaling on this page, okay? Now, we can have a pocket here if we want, or we can cover this. That's entirely up to you. I think you could put a pocket on the side here, and I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to put you're going to cut a very thin amount off the edge of your. You want to do all your cutting before you start collaging and make sure everything's coming out like you want. So here we have, let's see why this is sticking down here. Oh, well, this is going to show an open hole, see, at first, but we're going to cover this. So that will be fine at that point. Okay, and then this one we're going to take on the top and just barely trim the top off. Okay, and then we're going to have that be a pocket as well. Okay, so that's where our 2 pockets are going to be, on the side and on the top. All right, so I really hadn't decided what to collage this with, but I do know I want this inside portion to have journaling. you know, some kind of journaling going on. So I thought we kind of stick with the same colors that we used on the other two pieces, which I told you I would show in this video. So here we go. I'm going to show them to you after I got them stitched and decorated. Now, these are the little tag pockets. Now, we will be making tags for these. But I did put a rosette that I fussy cut out right there, stitched around everything, and we have our pocket. Okay, that's on one of them. On the second one, I did the same thing as far as stitching goes, but then I have just one big rose there. Okay. On this one, I did the same thing as far as stitching goes. And then I put this kind of a lavender pink floral there. And I can see right now by looking at this that my stitching looks wonky. So I'll be restitching this when I'm going to put it up. And it makes it look like it's going that direction, but it's not. And here is one of the pockets that we did. It's just two pieces of text glued together on each of these. Have a double text plus the collaging. So we have, I'm going to pull out a tag that's not got anything on it. We have a pocket here and a pocket here. So I'm going to load these with tags, and yeah. And so I added this floral right here. I really like the way it looked. And then I added a tag right down here. I just kind of, a label. I'm kind of like Roxy when it comes to the labels. I love them on there. So here's a floral, you know, with lavender and pink and the greens, and then I put a label up here. Again, this is a pocket here and here, and if you glue it onto your book, you can have it on the back as well. Okay, now here's how the third one turned out. I can't decide. I think this is my favorite. I love the crossed pockets here, so you can get a whole lot more in your big pocket here, and then here you have a small place for smaller tags. Okay, so those are our two items that we've worked on already, and so I'm trying to decide. Now I want to go on and do this. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to bring out my tear tool, because I just want to. Okay, so I'm going to fix this where we have a good journaling space. Now, this is heavier cardstock, and I just tore right there, which is okay. Because that's plenty for what we're going to do. Okay, now, I want to put this in here, and I left it flat on this side so we could like stitch it right in. Not stitch it, but glue it right into here. Okay. And so I'm going to turn this so we can tear it right here at the bottom. Now, this is going to be a little taller than the other portion, but that's okay. Yeah. So I like the way that's going to look, and then we can cover whatever we need to. Now I'm going to move some of this stuff around so I have room to do the glue here. Let me get my glue stick out. Now this is kind of heavy of cardstock, so I'm not inking anything until the end, and then I'm inking around my flowers and my my labels, but I'm also inking around the outside edges, but not each piece of collaged paper. I just think it's too much darkness. So now we're going to lay this right here on the inside because we want them to have plenty of space to journal. Okay, now I'm going to take some of this that we have left over. Ooh, yeah, I like that. I like me some crooked paper. Let's see. Let me kind of rip some of this off right here. Okay. I might take some off of this side as well. I don't think I'm going to need all of that. You know? The reason I'm using my tear tool is because I can never get it to tear without big old wide places of white. And I don't like that look as well. So, whoops, there went my lid. Let me grab that. Flying across the table. Okay, so I think I want to use this portion on here. Yeah, I like that. Yes, yes, that's pretty. Okay, and then thinking here what else we could do on this side. I think this, you know, I told you that during making of all this stuff that I was going to not be doing tiny little pieces because it just, on some things it doesn't look good. And if you're going to have it on a big piece of ephemera that you're going to use on your in one of your books, you want to have it where you just have enough. Now, we will be adding something else here, but I'm going to move on to the side, actually the front side. And on the front, we do not have to worry about journaling space. We might want to put a little bit, but pretty much on this portion, I know I want to add this on this side. So we'll just tear that little piece off. So I know I want that there. Over here is what I'm not sure about. Let me lay this down and move it over. Now, I'm looking at some other papers as we talk here, or as we come along here. Let's see. I don't want to put too much of a brown tone in here because I still want it to have, we've got this pink and blue and kind of a light blue pink, and then so I think what I'm going to do is go over here and find another piece that we can add some other color. Like I like this gold right there. The gold that is here I think looks pretty, and it gives a journaling space. But on the front, I don't want the journaling space. So this is what I plan on doing. But I want it on the inside, on the other side. I think I'm going to do it like this so I can tear off this very small edge that drives everybody crazy. Now, I don't know if it's going to let me, but we're sure going to try. Come on. There we go. Now, so I also like this. I mean, I like it all. I mean, I could go on and on. Now, what happened to my... I did have a piece right here. There it is. I think I'm going to use this blue right in here. So, and I don't feel like I need it to be very wide because we've already got this So if we put it here and here, we ought to be doing pretty good if we do that. Let's see. Okay. So let's see how that's going to look. Just want to go with the blue. And then I think I want to put the other portion on the left side. Put that there. And see, I like a little bit of the paper hanging out on this side. I just don't want to get it too dark. See right there? So I kind of would have liked to, let's see if we can cover that up a little more. Maybe not with that piece. We may have to add a third piece. Or we can do it like this, then add the blue. But I'm still lacking a little bit. Put this portion under maybe. Just barely under this pink one. So I'm thinking we'll put it right there. See what happens. And I'm inking off to the side here. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. It's like there's never enough room. Okay, so this one is going to go kind of in the middle, not completely. Just a little bit. I'm going to have to add another strip of something there because it's not going to look like I want it to if I don't. I hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. We still are having storms off and on. I'm telling you, it seems like every day some kind of storm is coming through. The poor people who are going through the flood, you know, they can't even get into their homes because they're waiting on it to clear up enough, you know. But there'll come a time that we'll be like in a drought. You know, it kind of goes back and forth. All right, so right here, I do like this little bit of pink. Right here on this little strip. So let's just try that and see what we come up with. Well, first we should take off this edge. Come on. This doesn't hold down as well, quite as well as a regular ruler. You just kind of have to work at it a little bit. But I like the way it makes the edges look, you know. And that's what I'm going for. Okay. Yeah. I like that because it has a little bit of blue. And it has a little bit of pink. So I'm going to do a thinner strip here. Okay. And yeah, I like the way that looks. And we'll just tear it right here. All right. And we're off to the races. Okay. I don't normally stripe it up like that, but for a change, I kind of like that. Okay, so we have the inside and we have the front. Now in here, we have a little bit of gold right there. So I think we're going to add some of this gold. And let me see. So I want it to be kind of like this. I want it more square. Yeah. So I think I'm going to do it, not the whole thing, but just a strip of it right here. And try some pink right in here. Okay, I'm just gonna, since I'm gonna put this on the edge, I'm just gonna cut it real quick. So let's do this portion first. Let's do the gold portion and put it on first. Again, you know, and I noticed a lot of you even commented that this was a great way to save on, you know, getting rid of some of the text paper. But I just thought of something. We want to cover up, we need to cover up, I'll put it that way. We need to cover up the section right here, and then at some point I'll have to stitch at the bottom. I don't want to put that though, so I'm going to use paper text, and then it will look like we meant to do that, right? Here's some old paper text. So we're going to put that on first, but right here we're not putting any glue. So we're going to do it like this. Let's get some of that on there. Just to cover up this portion, because we want this to be part of our pocket. So I'm just going to line this up just like this. And at that point, where I stitch around everything, I'll stitch across here. Okay. Now I'm going to trim this off real quick, because this is just kind of something for the background, just to keep it from, give us something to glue to. This is not going to be part of the collage that we're doing. Let's see. There we go. All right. Now, let's get back to business. So I am planning on doing, see, this is going to be up, and that's okay, because we are going to, like I said, stitch it. So there's a little bit of glue there and a little bit of glue there to hold those sides down. Yeah, that's perfect. Now, this should all be down pretty good. And there's our pocket. And see, if you look down in there now, you can see that paper is there that doesn't have anything sticky on it. And now we're going to go over this. I'm going to have to re-glue this one piece because it dried on me, guys. I piddled. That's what happens when you don't think ahead, and I don't. I mean, none of this was any thinking ahead. I just liked it and decided to use it. Now, I'm also going to put this other side down. Whoops. Okay. Now we want this to overlap want it to overlap a little bit right here. And it is okay if it goes over this, we just trim it off. And there we go. Now, we can see a little bit of that text, and that's okay, because that's part of collaging too. Okay, so these two portions are done. Now this needs to be trimmed down. It's a little bit too long. So I'm just going to trim it down, and then we'll stitch it closed, because it won't let my book fold. I just like the way Roxy, or Rachel, I always want to call her Roxy. I know the difference. I like the way she collaged hers, and this has been a while back, but trying to get under this one little part here. Of course, I glued them all down. I just want to make it straight right there. There we go. Straight enough. Okay, so here is how it's going to be. Just like that. Now, we've done the insides. We've done this. We're not going to do the back because I think the back will end up, I don't know, if it will be attached or slipped into something. I'm not sure. So maybe we should just do it to be on the safe side, right? I think so. And I think what we're going to do is add text on here. Because, you know, if we add the text, it's okay. And we will end up with something on there in case we want to add something else. So I figure we'll just cover the back of this envelope just in case. Just in case we decide we don't want to glue it in. We would have something on here and it would be stitched around, and then all we have to do is collage without getting it into the stitches. So that's a good way to you know, get it covered and not take a chance. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this, and then around the edges it will just be stitches. Let's see if I cut this right or not. You know, I've been known not to cut things right. I didn't want that big white spot right here. And what I'm going to do is take a second page and just overlap that first page. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm going to trim this edge off too. And see how far over I need to cover. Probably about like that. I figure I'll just layer it on there, and then we can trim the top portion off. Then we can be sure that if we decide to use it, we can. All right. I don't know if you guys can hear it storming, but man, it is storming. We just can't get a break in Oklahoma. It is like coming after us. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim this off. I do want to get down to a point before the end of the video where I can show you that some Happy Mail I got. And I'm not really experienced on showing Happy Mail, but I'm so very appreciative to the person who sent it to me. Okay, so, and I want to show you what she sent me. And I have a feeling I must have said something in a video about not having, trying to find, I've been trying to find, I'll say it to you guys too, just in case you don't remember, or I don't know. I was having trouble finding botanical images that weren't on shiny paper. You know, it's just insane. And, you know, I had bought several books and sent them back, and, you know, and then I just recently got one that I think the paper is not like completely shiny. And so I've just started printing off digitals, but I would really prefer to have some actual books, you know, that, but nowhere in Oklahoma have I been able to find anything. You know, I've been to a lot of vintage shops, and every kind of gardening or botanical type books have, I love this, have the shiny pages. Okay, moving along. So we've got this all covered. Now, I'm thinking, do we want to add some doily to it anywhere? And the reason I say that is I spent all kinds of time cutting out doilies that came from Rachel's digital shop. And I will link Rachel below. I got to make myself a note. If I don't make notes, I have a hard time remembering. And the paper I'm using is antique paperia. So, paperia. I'll get that eventually. So, I will link Rachel and also the paperia. And antique paper. All right, I'll link them below so that you can go find some of their goods. They're really nice goods. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to put a doily on here or not. Last time I kind of decorated after the fact, after I stitched. And so I feel like this is pretty stark white, and after I did it, I realized that it was. Isn't that beautiful? Rachel, those are beautiful. I was going to think about doing it like this, but we have a pocket up there, so that wouldn't really work. So maybe we should look at how we could do something here on the very front. I like that too. Now, yes, we will have to cut it in half. Let me see how it's going to look. I could put it down inside that pocket and then cut it in half, but could also do it just like this. Yeah, I like that. What do you guys think? So pretty, Rachel. I'm working on mine. I just haven't got them done yet. It seems like we have one thing after another come along to drive us crazy, that we have to get something we have to get done or whatever. Now see, we could take another long one, but it would cover this completely. And I'm thinking maybe down here we can find something similar to, let's see what we got in here. Similar to this, only in a smaller, that's kind of similar. Let's see. It's not really big enough for what I want to do. Let's see, let's see. Oh, ooh, I might like doing that. Just putting it like, I don't know. I can't decide. Help me. I'm having a hard time. Let's see. Here is this one too, which is really pretty. I had so much fun cutting out these doilies, Rachel. I don't know if you're watching today, but if you are, it was so much fun. Oh, look, this is really what I want. That's what I want. Okay, sold for the heck of it. So I'm going to fold it in half and put the portion on this side that I want. Now, I can fold it over and be done with it or save the other half. I think I'm going to save the other half because, wow, I don't want to waste it. And I can use that on something else. So let's put this one, let's glue this down first and see what it looks like. Okay, come off of there. All right. Kind of doing it, I think I'm going to just center it between the ledger and not cover up any of the floral on the right side. Pretty. Pretty, pretty. I don't know what I did right there. Looks like I bent something. Let me make sure what that is. It's not my pocket, is it? Nope, it is. It just, there's not enough, I guess I bent it under trying the different doilies. Okay, now here, the reason I folded it was because it's on this edge, and because it's on this edge, I want to go ahead and glue the other side on the inside of the pocket. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it allows such a thing. But I think it'll make that edge stronger where you have the pocket, and then we don't have to worry about the edge of the doily popping up every time somebody puts something in it. You know what I mean? Okay. Trying to remember which side I had on which side. Let's do this. So I'm going to fold it back down like I had it. Okay, so it will slip down in here easier. And then we can keep our fingers crossed that it works like I want. Get in there. Get in there. Okay, now, let's see. Let me put that down and that down. And then kind of slowly pulling that up so we have, yeah, I like that. I do like that. So I wanted that to go, see, it took that raw edge away right here, which I like. All right, isn't that pretty? That's looking pretty, guys. Looking pretty. Okay, so now let me think. In the last portion of when I made these other pocket type things here, I didn't decorate them until after I did all the stitching. But I think if we stay within where the stitching won't be, we could. Let me get some flowers. I've got flowers and birds and mushrooms and flowers and birds and mushrooms, butterflies. I mean, you know, you name it. Let me open these containers up and set them right here where I can have access to them. Now that is birds. And this is flowers. I'm going to bring the flowers over here first. Let's see. Because the flowers are just stinking cute. But you know, the way I have this done, I don't know if flowers are going to be what we want to add, because it's already got so much floral beauty on here. And I think if we put something anywhere, it should be on this page, which, you know, would be pretty. I don't want it to take over the page. We could put it down on this side. That's really pretty right there, isn't it? I wonder if I have something pink similar to that in my little bag, or my little box. Get it straight, Paula. It's a box, not a bag. Okay, then we have this pretty pink, which I like. Ooh. I like that. Let's do that one. Now, because I am inking I'm only going to be inking around flowers and the outside, okay? And the reason I'm doing around the flowers is because they blend into this paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and ink a little bit around the edges, and it doesn't have to be every little spot, just the light, really the light spots, you know, that are going to look like they blend into the paper that they're glued onto. And it just kind of separates them. Okay, now let's see what happens. Whenever you fussy cut your flowers and you go to glue them in, you want to be very careful, because this one's not got so many little pieces, but you will rip them off if you're not. Okay. Get that all the way down. And I want the whole thing to be on there, so I'm going to move it over until I can see that it's fitting. Yeah, I like the way that looks. Now, label. Do I want a label? I don't think so. I think with the two doilies and the flower, I think it's good enough. So now what I'm going to do is trim around all of the rough things that are hanging over. Okay? Anything hanging over the edge that's not, you know, not supposed to. Just trim all that off. That way when we stitch it, it's already done. Okay. I think this side's pretty good. I don't think much was hanging over on this side. Maybe a little bit right there and right there. But pretty much that's it. Okay, so now I'm just going to run some ink around this portion, and I will show these in the next video, how they turned out. Gonna have to glue that little portion right there down in just a second. And I am going to go ahead and put some ink in between. And see, just going around the outside, I think, is plenty. Okay. Can you hear that thunder? It's good sleeping weather. Too bad it's not time to sleep. It's not sleeping time. Okay, so we got that. Now let's do the front. You got to remember when you do things that are hinged to another thing, for instance, we have this one envelope attached to another envelope right in here. My experience with attaching envelopes, especially if they're tea stained, is that they can tear off easy. So you want to just be very careful. Don't constantly open and close them while you're working on them. Once they dry, I think it'd be better, but while they're wet, it's easier for them to just fall right off. So, all right, so see, this little bit of inking, I think, made a difference. I think we need some down here a little bit more. Now, do we want to punch a little half moon? This one I don't want to. I think we'll have to a little bit right here because you really can't tell there's a pocket up there, right? So we're going to make it happen. Right here is where our little, I don't know how far down to go with my, I never really know, but that's good enough. Okay, there. Now I will ink around that as well so that it's, you know, it's noticeable. Kind of put a little ink there and then it goes around. Not a lot, not dark. And this little catch right here will be stitched. Okay, so we have finished number 1. And I will make, for this, these will have either big tags. This side will have a journaling card with a tab. And up here, I'm not sure whether to be 1 tag, 2 tags, 3 tags, a dozen tags. Who knows? Okay, so that one is done. So we have a couple more to do. We may not get them all done on video because, you know how impossible that can be. All right, so now right here, again, we want to cover this. So we might as well just do that first thing, and we want to cover the back. Okay, so let's just do those right now. And I actually think I'm going to go ahead and, oh, we got to glue this down. Got to glue that down. I'm going to make them pretty much the same style. Pocket on the top of this one and side top pocket on the smaller one. Smaller one meaning envelope. Okay, and we're going to do this a little darker. So this one's going to be, that's the back right there. So I've decided, I think I'm going to go ahead, let's do it like this. I'm going to go ahead and do this whole page. I don't think it's going to make that much difference, and then we don't have to use 2 pages. I think it'll look fine. All right. Plenty of glue to hold this down. You want to center the text because, you know, you want as much text on there as you can get on there. And then we will trim this off. Trim this off. You want to make sure you don't cut your envelope, or you will have a pocket somewhere you may not want it. Get a little closer here. There we go. Now that is that side. Now we want to put a little bit of paper on the side that is going to have right in here, and then we'll cover it. But I am going to trim around this. Probably need to make that a little straighter, since it's going to be going right down that side for the glue, with the glue on it. So yeah, we're just going to do the same thing, except we're not putting glue inside the envelope portion. So you see how I'm doing it here? That's how you want to do it. So whenever we cut our pockets, they'll be just where they need to be. Now, just to give a tiny bit of space, because otherwise it's just going to catch like the other one did. And we'll just have to end up trimming it, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so let's do this side, which is where our pocket will end up. Okay, and then this side. Come on. Keeps wanting to grab my envelope. Okay. There we go. All right, so that is all trimmed up. Let me trash this stuff that's in our way. Okay. All right, so here is where the pockets come in. I'm going to put a pocket right here along the side of this. And you just want to trim just what you have to. Just make sure you trimmed it enough that you got it in there. Yeah. And then on the other side, we're going to trim the top. Yes. Start right here. And again, we're going to put our journaling section on this. Let's make sure it opened all the way across, and it did. Yeah, there it goes. All right, now we've been using the pink, so I thought this time well, this is pink too. It's just a different pink. Well, it's browner than the other was, so I don't even know where the other one went. It was in my my basket of scraps, but who knows where it's at now. It's gone off to some other land. All right, so we're going to use this grid, which is kind of a mauve color, but it also has a gray look to it. So that's where we're going to put that right. We're going to put it right here. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to trim this off, because I don't want any of that portion. I think I'm going to pull it over so I don't waste it, though. We're going to do it just like this. And I'm putting that back in the basket. Whoops, no, that's the part I need. Just ignore the goofy me today. What else is new? I'm goofy just about every day. I have a little bit of goofiness in me every day. Okay, so we're going to leave this straight up here, because that's going to be on the edge anyway. So I'm not going to worry about that, since we have a pocket up there. But I don't want it to go all the way. Let's see how I want. Maybe I do. I think I want to do this different. Let's do this one all the way. And then on the bottom, we can cut it shorter. And I think I do want to cut this here, because I don't want it to go all the way up to the pocket. The more I think about it. There we go. All right, now got a little side up there. Might want to flip that over because that's too, yeah, let's flip that down to the bottom. I only want to go about that far down. Let's do this one. Okay, there we go. Now, we're going to put this right here, is my thought on this, is to put it right there. And let's see. Let me get the paper out that I want to use. I have a different paper, but it's by the same lady. It's just darker. And it has, I love this butterfly on here. It has some other kind of elements. We might put that part on the front. This section here. I don't know yet. We'll see. Okay, so I'm thinking I want to tear here. But really, if I tore there, it would have to, it needs to go down the side rather than the bottom. So I don't know which way I want to do it. So this has a peach background. And that's really pretty, you know, having the peach background. So I'm going to need to tear this portion off to the edge. I did a lot of tearing in my last video, but I'll tell you the reason I changed the rulers was that one only tore straight, and I wanted it to be, you know, I wanted it to look like it was torn. And I didn't want to sit all day and tear paper. You know, I think it looks better when you have a coordinated tear. Does that make sense? Okay, now we can still put this across here. Or we can do this portion that has some tea stain on it. I think I want to do... The writing on this will be sideways, but that's no big deal, so we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to do it. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. All right. So I put it heavier on there because it is a, how did I have that before? It was down like this. Okay. Because it's a heavier cardstock. You just want to make sure you get your edges down on this heavier paper because it takes more to hold it. And then I'm going to put on this peach with the floral, I'm going to put some glue on it. And we're going to lay it down just sideways. And it's going to cover the grid paper. I'm going to go ahead and trim this off because I don't like to look at it when it's all hanging off the side. Now, I do like the way that looks. That looks pretty good. And we may end up putting like some kind of peachy pink floral on here, or maybe something up in this corner. We'll just have to see how it ends up looking. Okay, so we could do the front with the envelope or this portion, but I still want this to be collaged. I don't want it to be like, oh, stick the whole paper on. We are sticking big papers on, but I still want it to be, I want it to look collaged. So that one's going to stay right there for now. Now, there's something in this one I really like, and it's this wreath and the text here. And I think I want that here on the front. So I'm going to tear the trim on this side off. Whoops, wrong way. Let me scoot this over. Good night. Can everything fall down? I just wonder, can everything fall down? Okay, I'm going to move this up where it's straighter. And I'm thinking, when I say straighter, I'm thinking I might want my regular ruler. And I'll show you why. Because of where I want to locate this, I would prefer it be shaggy, shabby looking, but shaggy looking. Rough looking, you know. I want it to look torn. Yeah. But I want it to be more on the straight side of being torn. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I think I want it to be this on this side. Is because I want to put that around that pocket. I think that would look good around the pocket. What do you guys think? I just thought it might look really good around that. I'll show you. I'll show you. Okay. So we have the pocket on the top right here. We put the doily on here last time, but I'm thinking that reef looks really good right there. But I think we need to tear on one side of it. I don't want it to be the whole sheet of paper. Again, that takes away the whole collaging point. So let's just tear right here. We don't want to tear our envelope, so be careful when you have it laid down there. Let's see what this is going to look like. So we need to tear as low down as we can right here. Yeah, there we go. Now this is going to go right here, although I got this a little too long. So I got to trim that too. Not much though. Whoops, of course. Let it pull out right now. It's the perfect time. Okay, so there. I think that height is better. We still have some sticking up, but we'll figure that out as we go along. Okay, now I think I want to put some of the other, this is a text, so I think I want to put some of the rows along there. Just tore that because it was practically torn already. I like adding this little extra color. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe not, maybe so. Let's just tear a strip here and decide what we want to do. Okay. Or do I want that underneath? I think I liked it better over. What do you think? I think it looks better over. Then it doesn't look so good. So okay, we'll just tear a little bit from up here. I'm just going to put a couple strips on this portion. And then glue it down because I still need a little tiny bit off of this. don't want to take any of the reef is the problem. But it still is a little long. There we go. And I got a little sliver out of there. Okay, so we're going to do this big piece first. As soon as I get it to cooperate. I worked this weekend cleaning everything, and now look at my desk. Just look at it. What's the point of cleaning? Do you ever feel that way? Like, why am I cleaning this? Tell me why. Okay, now I want to line this up because I do want it to be just below the pocket. And we'll just trim anything off that might hang over. I like that. You know, we could put a flower right there. But then we're kind of planning it. Takes away from that whole. But, you know, I am going to get flowers out of my box to decorate. Maybe. We'll just have to see. Okay, so I'm going to pull this over as far as I can to cover as much of that envelope as I can. And I will have to trim. Definitely will have to trim around this. Let's see. Shocker. Just a little bit, but now I have to fold it like this so I can trim right away from that inside portion. Ooh, I'm liking this one, guys. Okay, so over here, I think we need something really floral. And I think we're going to use this first. Okay, and on this side, let's see how far up I want to take that. I don't want it to be all the way up to the top. So I'm going to do like this and maybe tear it right here. If I can get my tear tool to cooperate. There we go. And let's tear right here. Okay, and move that tear tool out of my way. Okay, so we're going to do it right like this. I like that little bit of text behind it. So, but we got to think of something for right here. I think that we might add some more journaling paper. Just a little bit. Right there. Let's see what we end up with. I'm not going to tear very much of it. Because you can journal on either side without any problem. Kind of have to get it started when you tear that paper because it's a little heavier. So I think it needs to go down first. Let's see. Yeah. I'm going to tear right here using my fingers to do the tearing. Okay, let's go ahead and glue that down. This is the same heavy cardstock, so you want to really get the glue on there. Put it up as high as you can because you don't want all the text to show. Excuse me. I'm hiccuping. Okay. Get all this down. Okay. Now, on this one, I kind of did straight on the bottom just for something different. Ooh, I'm liking it. Okay, now there's a lot going on. I know it doesn't seem overly exciting, but it is, because we've got this wreath on here, which I think would be pretty with like a bunch of florals or something. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we come up with here. And if we don't, we'll just move a different direction. You know? And it still has to be in the color scheme. So we've kind of got that brownish peach color. We got some peach there. I don't like the shape, but we could reshape that if we decided we wanted to use it. And I think I don't remember, isn't that pretty? Pretty. Trying to think. Here's another peach with some yellow. That's kind of pretty. Could use part of that, right? Here's some orange. But it also, the nice thing about that orange is it will blend. That's too red. Okay, let's see what we can do with those. Now, who knows, right? Let's move that out of the way, because we can use more than one flower on here should we decide to. But I'm thinking, honestly, this would look the best. Not these portions, but just around this flower. See, so let's just trim it off, because I really don't like it anyway. And so this is how it would go if we set it down on the branch. Or we could just put it on there. Think about that one. And then we've got this big orange, which, if it was just the flower, you have to admit would look really cute. So let's visualize it without the stem. Yeah, I'm liking that. So let's see what this would look like. This bottom one, the top one is red, but this bottom one is a different flower. So we have to visualize without the flower. This is the better color. And so it's got a little tiny stem right here. We're just going to cut this little stem off and see. It has a pretty big fussy cut around it too, so we could make that less white. I don't know. My favorite, I think you guys know my favorite. This is my favorite, and I think we're going to go for it. Okay, so, but we'll keep these others out in case there's something else. Now, I'm going to get my fussy cut scissors out. I don't know if you guys have any of these. These are the spring cut type scissors, and I know Hobby Lobby carries them, and I don't know what brand this is. I can't believe it doesn't say the brand on here, but it doesn't matter. These are the purple and gray ones, but I know I have seen other fussy cut scissors there as well. And these help with thumb pain and hand pain, because it does take some getting used to these scissors, but it's so worth it once you do. So I'm going to trim down some of this fussy cutting around the outside. I don't want it to be completely a big, huge line of white. So after we finish this one, this video is going to have to end. Unfortunately, we're already running into, yeah, we've already reached our hour. Woohoo. Okay, let's go right up here. But I wanted you guys to end up seeing what I decide to do with this beforehand. I like having this paper kind of a peachy color because it's different, but it still will work with anything pink or green or, you know, blue. It would work with any of those, really. And I'm just, right now, what I'm doing is just trimming some of this white off around the edges. It's just too much. And, yeah. Get this right here. All right, we're getting close. You could hear a pin drop in here. Well, nope, there's the thunder. No more pin dropping. Trying to get in all these little nooks and crannies takes a little bit of time. Trying to hurry it along. When I fussy cut, I don't worry about it being absolutely perfect. Because it's, you know, the main thing is not to have too big of a... I bought some of mine already fussy cut. So if you ever see a big line around them, I mean bigger than normal, that's why. I try to leave a little space, and this may be one of mine because this isn't that much space really. If you look at someone who does it all the time, usually they leave, you know, tiny bit of white there. Because it's not said to be that it looks better with a little bit of white. I don't know how much I agree with that, but I just do what everybody says to do. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. That is what makes me a little bit different, I think, is that I don't just do what's said. Okay, now we've got that done, and I'm going to ink it a little bit because, well, it's time to ink. And I don't want it to look, and I'm really just kind of hitting it with some ink and getting any little white spaces that might be too white. And it gives it a little bit of a, you know, brown tip. And I'm just going around the edge, because if I try to get up in between every one of those, that's not going to happen. Okay, so here we go. Now it is, you have to watch the direction that it's going around, because there's some ways it would look better than others. Like that's pointed down, so I don't want that. I would rather it be pointed up and maybe over, just like that. So let's put the glue on that and get that little flower down before I change my mind. Okay, now in this situation, you go from the middle out. Put your glue stick in the middle and pull out. but still you want to be careful because you could pull off one of the little petals. Okay, come on off of there now. Okay, let me look at this again. Okay, I'll do it like that. What do you think about that? I think I really like that. It just kind of finishes it off. Now we have to trim around this portion with ink. Okay. Just go ahead and go over here and do this portion while we're here. Now after these get stitched, they're going to look even better. You know, that stitching around really makes a difference. Okay, so we're going to put some brown right there. And we're going to go on around here. Okay, so let's do this inside now. I think on the inside we have plenty of, well, I think I'm going to have to trim this little portion right here, because it's where the pocket is going to be, and I'm going to stitch, but it still needs to be able to close without bending, right? I think so too. Come on. There we go. Yeah, and see, earlier I glued this portion under here down a little bit. So I'm going to do that right here on the flap, just so that stays down. And it will look better when it's all stitched if everything is already down. This one just has a little bit. There we go. All right, now, if we're going to add anything else, now's the time to decide. What happened to my pen? I know that's why a lot of people use the beads, but those beads would drive me crazy. I'm just saying. Okay, the rattling would get to this old lady. Okay, but they're awfully pretty. Okay, so now we have this side done. Now let's look at putting a label on there. And let me get my label box. Or not a label box, but my label folder. Which, I like certain ones in here. Like, I love this. I think this would look good with it. I'm just going to grab that out and see real quick what we think. I'm thinking right there. I like that. Okay, so that's getting that label. Let me put this back. And we'll put this down real quick before I change my mind. I try to just do it, you know. If I like the way it looks, even real close to the way it looks, I just do it. And I think it makes a difference. Those lines aren't as straight as I would have liked them to be. Just note to self, Paula. Let's see. Now, we talked about these other flowers. I feel like we don't need any other flowers in here because this is it's got so many flowers already. So I think this one is going to be called done, except for the stitching. And I'm going to poke a hole up here on the top. Let me get that open. And oops, there we go. And then just a little bit of ink right there so you can see where that is. And here we go. That's upside down, just FYI. But it doesn't matter because it's just to cover this. And if we decide we want to not make it a glue-on in our journal, then we collage it, okay? So you'll have to go back and do that if you decide you don't want it to be collaged. And see, I have a lot of loose paper on the edges, but that's okay because we will stitch those. And when I have them all stitched, I will have them back to show you in my next video. I hope you guys had fun today. I'm going to continue to work on the stuff for my Etsy shop. And I don't know if I'll be back to do any more. I'm going to be making a lot of tags. I might come back and show some tag making. I'm going to use a lot of tags I have that will coordinate and go from there. So there's this one. And here is this one. So the doily is the star of this show here. And the wreath is the star of the show here. Now, I wonder what the star of the show will be on this one. Ha ha, we will have to see. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.